turn our Bibles to Psalm 27. Psalm 27 is the psalm we're stepping through verse by verse in this time, and we've come up to verse 5. Let's read up to verse 5 together. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked, even mine enemies and my foes, came upon me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and fell. So that's looking back at what God did for him. Though an host should encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Now he's looking forward at future possibilities, negative possibilities. But he's predetermining, I'm not going to be afraid when these things happen because of my previous experience. Though war should rise against me, in this will I be confident. One thing have I desired of the Lord, that will I seek after. I love David's focus. He is on track. He is on mission. He is seeking after the Lord in his life. He's not worried about things he can't control or can't deal with. He's dialed into one thing, and he is going to seek after that. He's going to pursue after that. That I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord and to inquire in his temple. So we talked about David wanting to build that temple, that house for God, dreaming of that and longing for that. Verse 5, for in the time of trouble he shall hide me in his pavilion. That's a temporary dwelling place. In the secret of his tabernacle, a tent, shall he hide me, and he shall set me upon a rock. We talked a lot about that yesterday, and there's a lot there in terms of the imagery and what might have been going through David's mind in contrasting the tabernacle and the future temple and the idea of God keeping me safe temporarily while I'm in this tabernacle, my body, temporarily, but eventually setting me upon a rock, like in that final building, that permanent place, that eternal place. But now look at verse 6. So David has looked back when the wicked were coming against him and God delivered him. I want you to notice the context. Verse 1 is present, and it's like a fixed thing. The Lord is, okay? Verse 2 is looking back when that happened, okay? Verse 3 is looking forward when other things might happen. Verse 4 is present right now, one thing, okay? So I'm not living in the past. I'm not living in the possibilities of tomorrow. I'm living in this one thing, and it has to do with God, okay? And then verse 5, for in the time of trouble, okay, the future possibilities, he shall, this is going to happen. If trouble happens, this will happen. These are my guarantees. These are my things that I anchor to. David's like kind of describing the structure of his spiritual life, okay? In the time of trouble, he shall, okay? So future confidence and guarantees. Now verse 6, and now, okay? So now he's right back to right now. Do you see where his mind is? He's thinking about what happened, what might happen, what could happen, who God is, and if this happens, God will. But right now, okay, I'm seeking after the Lord. And now, look at verse 6. And now shall mine head be lifted up. Oh, man, that is awesome, okay? Stop and think about it, okay? David says, for right now, I'm not going to put my head down. I'm not going to let my circumstances, I'm not going to let any negatives in my present, any burdens draw my head down, okay? You notice what he says, now shall my head be lifted up above mine enemies round about me. So apparently, in the moment that David was writing this psalm, there were imminent possibilities. There were maybe threatening enemies. In fact, it's amazing to go to Israel. But from Jerusalem, you're maybe 20 minutes drive to the valley of Elah, okay? The valley of Elah is where David fought Goliath. It's just to the southwest of Jerusalem, more west than south if I remember correctly. But there's a mountain, and I forget the name of the mountain, right there on one side of the valley of Elah. There's ruins at the top of that mountain. It was a city. It's right there on the tip of my tongue. If you're standing on that mountain, and you're looking at the valley of Elah where the giant was slain, if you turn around, if you just did a 180, and you turn around and look behind you from that mountaintop, you can look across a valley, maybe 10 miles, maybe 8 miles, and you can see another mound, another tell, a buried city, and that's Gath. That's the hometown of Goliath. That's where the Philistines were, okay? So we think of enemies as overseas, right? We think of enemies as people trying to come from very far away to get into our country. But David's enemies were just within miles. I mean, we go by car now, but I mean, even just several days of a walk, David was in territory that was occupied by his enemies. They weren't all that far away. So as he's writing the psalm, he's surrounded by possibilities that are problematic. He's surrounded by imminent, real threats, okay? And he feels in himself vulnerable. That's why he's hiding in God. That's why he's talking himself into this place, reminding himself into this place of who God is and what God's done for him in the past and what God will do in the future. He is preaching to himself, isn't he? Okay? And he's coaching himself. He's saying, I remember when God brought me through that. He's remembering. And then he's imagining, that might happen, but I know God will do this if that happens. God's going to take care of me okay. And so one thing right now I'm going to desire and I'm going to give myself to, and then verse 6, and now. And I love this verse. I just want to stay right here in this verse. And now shall mine head be lifted up above mine enemies. So because of these first 5 verses, David says, I don't have to focus on my enemies. I don't have to focus on the threats. I can lift my head up to my higher purposes, my higher value, my higher meaning and reason for being, and a higher identity. My head, my emotions, my heart, my joy, I can be joyful, I can be optimistic, I can be faith-filled. I can lift my head up above the threats. Yeah, I don't know about you, but I need this, okay? I mean, I spend a good portion of every day having this same conversation with myself, okay? Where my mind wants to go into the possibilities of the future. When can we gather again as a church? What's in store for our school? What about student enrollment? How do we help the families and the kids? And how do we help our church family? And how do we stay connected in groups? And how do we meet needs? And how are we going to pay? All of these things come crushing in. And you know what? I look back and I think, wait a minute, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, our church was in dire place. And 10 years ago, I had cancer. And so I can go kind of to verse 2. When these things happened, God walked with me, God held me, God strengthened, God provided every step. And so though the world shuts down for a long time, I know what God will do. He will sustain us. He will care for us. He will provide for us. In other words, we can have this same conversation with ourselves today. And verse 6, we can lift our heads up above the threats. And this is so important for you today, okay? Your head, the news, the media, people, your emotions, constantly drawing your head down to look at the possibilities and to stew over the problems and the losses and when's it going to be normal again? All these things, okay? And David says, now I'm going to lift my head. I'm going to focus on something different. Look at what he says he's going to focus on. This is powerful. Therefore, okay, so because my head is lifted up above mine enemies, the negatives, therefore will I offer in his tabernacle sacrifices of joy. I will sing, yea, I will sing praises unto the Lord. Okay, I just love this. What is David doing practically? He's saying, while I'm in this place that's surrounded by enemies and negative possibilities, I am seeking after my God. I'm going to lift my head up above my enemies, my threats, my problems, my sources for despair, and I will. Now look at the 3 times. Will I will, okay? Just look at the deliberation of that. Look at the decision, okay? I will. He's not giving in to his feelings. He's not letting emotion drive him or lead him. He is making some decisions. I will, I will, I will. And what are his decisions? I will offer in his tabernacle sacrifices of joy. I am going to continue to worship God, to serve my God, to give to my God. I am going to continue doing whatever's within my power to express joy to my God, okay? And to live my life, okay? What does the New Testament teach us? To present our bodies a living sacrifice, okay? So I will wake up tomorrow and live my life as a sacrifice of joy to my God, who is in total control of the pandemic, but I can live my life within the boundaries he's placed me in as a sacrifice of joy. So I can live a sacrifice of joy. I can sing praise. Yea, I will sing praise unto the Lord. So God says you can live your life, you can honor me with joy, and you can worship me. And wow, what great gifts, okay? We don't have to be dominated by the narrative of the world. We can lift our head above that. We can live the lives God's called us to live in this moment, and we can do it with joy and with praise and with worship. That's profound. That's powerful. I'm telling you, that just lights a fire under me to do what God's given me to do today, and I hope it does for you as well. I want to encourage you to stay tuned to not only these daily moments at noon, but also on the weekend. We got some announcements coming up. I'll give you a sneak peek, okay, of some things we're planning. We're planning a family game night over Zoom for all the families of our church. It'll be live, it'll be interactive, it'll be a lot of fun, a lot of laughs. Second thing we're planning, Lance and I are planning an evening at my house with me on the piano and him on the guitar, and we're just going to invite you to join in and sing along in some songs, some of our favorites, and I think it'll be a great time for you and your family. It'll be rather informal, but it'll be fun. He's promised me to think up a good name for it, okay? Something like a jam session or something like that, but we'll see what he comes up with. And then let's think, we're planning that to be Sunday night. The family game night we're going to announce sometime next week, but the time of singing and maybe worshiping just in our living room will be Sunday evening. So we'll give you more details about that on Sunday. Anyway, I've probably taken too much time today. I love you. I'm enjoying Psalm 27. I hope you're encouraged today. I hope you'll lift up your head above your enemies and honor and worship him with sacrifices of joy and live the life he's called you to live today. Live in his calling and know that he has you and he's got this whole situation, and rejoice that you are his. I love you. I miss you. I'll see you tomorrow at noon.